Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to work on this Ultegra 6800 rear derailleur. I've just cleaned up the 6700 and so I can have a pretty good comparison between the two. I would say the obvious changes are the hollow jockey wheels that seem to both have sealed bearings on them. I'd say there's obviously a different color and design. Let me check that actually. Yeah, so the previous model, you can see here the design is completely different. So we're going to dissemble this derailleur and we're going to grease it up. It's not really dirty, it's just it's interesting to have a look at the inside of it, and then we'll put it back together again. So let's take off the anchor bolt. Looks smaller. I don't know if this is the original one, but it's much smaller than the previous version. Let's remove the pulley wheel bolt. Oh man, that's hard as well. Okay, got it off. And I can see instantly it's not an SK, it's like in the other Ultegra. I can't see what it says. So we're going to work now on the bottom knuckle. We're going to remove this bolt at the back here. I'm going to make sure it goes in there. I'm expecting this to be quite hard, in fact. I have a feeling this is going to be hard to remove, so I'm going to grab a longer one. And it is. Right. And that's now come out. Let's take that seal off straight away. So we again have, this one's a little bit less dry. There's a washer here. Let's push that through. Okay, so still kind of corrosion on this surface part here. Let's unscrew this. You can use a regular screwdriver. I've just got this one here on the side of me. Just to point out, there's a very thin washer here at the back of the bolt. You don't want to lose that. We're now going to work on the top knuckle. I'm going to take off this B, what's it called again? B tension screw. Right, so here there's a clip that we're going to remove. See if this just comes off. No. Right, so we're going to shimmy this up until that stopper plate comes out. Or alternatively, you can just use a plier probably. Let's just do that, be quicker. There you go. So there's a seal behind here. Spring. Shorter tip was on the outside, longer inner. Got that hanger bolt now that we can push through. And in between here there's a seal. Can't just take them off for the sake of it. Same thing as always, I'm going to clean this with some soapy water. Not so much actually on this one, but usually I'll clean with some soapy water if there was a lot of dirt. And you can run some degreaser or WD-40 to wash off the old grease, and then we'll apply some new grease after. This pulley didn't specifically need to, but if your ones are extremely dry, you can always pop off the cap that's on the sealed bearing. You need to do this with something fairly sharp though if you're going to do it, to avoid damaging the cover. If you bend it, it's obviously not going to roll as good. And then you can clean it out and then reapply some grease on it. I used Finish Line last time and that was really good actually for this particular application. Otherwise, any other bearing grease is well, it's better than them being dry and essentially throwing them away if they're still good. Although I would obviously recommend just getting some new jockey wheels, pluriel. So I'm going to put that back on. It looks like they replaced an SK with something called SMDS. I'll look that up. Right, so I've cleaned all that stuff up and then I'm going to add on some grease. I thought it was really interesting, a couple of little details. I thought there was a couple of interesting details now that I've cleaned everything up. If you look very closely on this washer on the back of the anchor bolt, you can see it's being worked on so that it grips onto the onto the derailleur cable better. Another little detail compared to the previous model, which I thought was quite funny, the barrel adjuster. So they've got more holes in it. You'd think that was good, but there's actually a crack on this one, obviously because it's not so solid anymore. Okay, so we're going to work on the bottom knuckle first. I'm going to grab this jockey wheel cage and the bolt that runs through it. So you need to remember that there's a very thin washer that goes here first, and we can now push that through, all the way through. You can now take the quill spring and put it into one of those two holes. I think the can't remember now. I think the left is more tensioned, right is less tensioned. So I'll put that in there. You'll also have a kind of spacer that sits on the top of this bolt. So the part that's extremely flat, you'll see one part's worked on slightly, and the flat surface is basically going to go inwards into the knuckle itself, and the worked part is sitting on top of this bolt in this position. Let's take the seal and put it back on. For the other tip of the coil spring, we're going to put it into the hole at the back of the knuckle, so you need to aim for that. When you hear that clicking in, like so, it means it's good. Now we're going to tighten this down using number 5 Allen wrench. Tight but not too tight. We now need to screw in this tiny little stopping bolt back on here. I have blocked the derailleur to keep it open with a screwdriver. And then once that's in, you can take out the object and let go. Right here, there's a seal for the top knuckle now. So I've pushed that back, put a bit of grease on there, and we can take the anchor bolt and push that through. On the B tension stopper plate, there's going to be a seal that's going to sit here at one point. There, we can now take this coil spring. I'm going to add on a bit more grease onto there. Looks not enough. There you go, it's good. So the longer tip on this coil spring is going to go into the knuckle itself. So aim for the hole at the back, and then the other tip here is going to go into the hole of the B tension plate, like so. We're going to need to tension this spring back, and we're going to want that part here to go in front of the stopper here that's on the knuckle. Easiest way to do that is take a 2.5 Allen wrench, go through that hole, and we're going to tension this now using our hand, and when we reach to the stopping point right there, we can push down at the same time, and that's going to grab onto that part. You can now take this out while holding that in place with your finger. Take the clip, put that underneath the wedge of the bolt, and grab a plier to push that underneath. For the jockey wheels, one's called guide pulley. That'll be for the one next to the top knuckle towards here. So it's going to go on the top. We're going to place that onto there now. So since this is the short cage version, there's two jockey wheel bolts. The shorter one's going to go here on the top where the guide pulley is. The longer one at the bottom. Not too tight, so we can still work on the other one easier. Quite a cool little update they made on this, on these models. They put a little plastic kind of pin to guide where this is going. Let's put the B tension screw back in. Okay, so complete. Interesting little updates and details on this derailleur. I have to say actually that I prefer the older version, the look generally, and I guess the features are a little bit better on this one, but I don't know, I just prefer this one. So thank you for listening, and I hope this helped you repair your Ultegra rear derailleur. Until next time, peace out.